How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary texts? First of all, start with the connotations. The connotations of our product, I think, shows that the band are young, innovative, and quirky.
The fact that they're in in the field, in the open environment, with the grass, sort of connotes that they're not grassroots, but sort of working their way up there, quite natural with their sound, and it goes with the indie genre.
Right, for me, the sort of connotations of this, when I look through the digipack as well as the video, a lot of the sight lines where the band are actually looking is often directed towards the audience. And instead of the idea of them being on display to the world, it's more they're involved with the audience, or trying to get the audience involved with them, have a bit of a relationship, as it were, with them, which is really personal and is also very attractive to a potential consumer.
Also, to build on Johnny's point, as some of the theorists suggest, they are almost inviting you to look at them. Obviously, when we've got the female there as well, like heading the group, that's very different to many other groups. Also, I'm thinking the font, especially in the digipack and the magazine advert, there's two different types. For Said the Hatter, it's more of a artistic, flowing font, and then for the Out of the Hat album name, it's more of a refined, formal text. And when they put them together, we see both two different sides, come together. One working hard, and one other one's pleasing on the eye, quite independent and indie.
Elaborating on what Henry just said, the actual text for Said the Hatter is a very stylized, it's sort of like a paintbrush effect, which sort of like brings out the fun, slightly crazy and quirky side of the band, what they're more like what they might be like out of the studio when you haven't got the pressing eyes of the press on them. But the other text for Out of the Hat, it's more refined. It still hasn't lost that sense of fun. So it's sort of like the two sides of the band, one crazy fun, wanting to be sort of like who they are really, but the other one being more refined, showing the more subtle ways in which the band
more
works.
Serious.
The more serious way that they act.
Yeah, and the way that the text then links with the images, like Johnny said, it brings out the quirkiness, and it also makes it just the band look more fun and more professional, with the link of the professional photography with the fun imagery of sitting on a hat, and it makes them look unique. Yeah, so the use of text and imagery together makes them unique, and then with the use of the hat, them sitting on the hat, and the idea of Said the Hatter and Out of the Hat, brings out sort of a magical side to them, and the fact that it has the link with the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, which makes them a bit more unusual than any other band.
Again, that's more to do with the indie genre. Obviously, the word indie coming from independent. Them being individual, not really worried about people's opinions. They're all about the image and style. If you see from people, the artist's clothing, you can tell that they've we've tried to make them seem it's quite natural and dress themselves, and hopefully consumers will follow the artist into the style that they wear, and they're sort of leading really, rather than following any other genre.
The indie genre itself, which we've shown throughout all three of our texts, it's not there to please mass markets and make them massively famous, but to draw out a new side, refresh the kind of music side, and emphasise the music itself within the industry, rather than the fame or infamity of some of the singers and performers and artists that are out there now.
Okay, to move on from the connotations, we'll look at the similarities of the all three texts. The main theme that runs through the all three texts is the idea of artificial objects in a natural environment. So, like on the digipack, we've got the hat in the natural environment, and in the video, we've got the use of the radio in the natural environment and walking through natural environments. Also, the font on the digipack between the magazine advert and the CD casing, we've got the use of a similar font to keep continuity and to link the products together. The sight lines as well, a similarity throughout is that they're often looking into the camera, communicating with the audience and creating a connection.
Also taking in like all three texts together, something that comes out in all three is the use of split screen or divided panels. Obviously in the video we see 4 different artists in the performance scene. They're broken up by quite nice feathered effects, and then in the digipack it's more panelled effects. This is harsher divide, which to me sort of keeps them as individuals, but then altogether that it does form a picture in itself of the 4 band members. So the band is actually kept together, but they do have their individual aspects.
Moving on to differences, a main difference throughout is that, well, between the digipack and the ancillary text and the video, is that we use different costumes. This was to create a slightly different image for the artists, and so for the audience and the fans, it's a slightly different image to take.
Also, to build on that point, if you keep sort of refreshing the costumes, it keeps it new for the audience, and it sort of keeps the artist fresh, and that they're quite fashion driven. Because obviously, other genres say about rock are not so image based, whereas indie is quite at the forefront of it, and it's sort of an expectation. So if we keep that going, then it should bring in the consumers.
Also, in the video, we've gone for the natural look along with the CD casing, but in the for the mag advert, we've gone for a harder look through the harsher colours to catch the audience's attention. It also keeps the magazine advert simplistic and easy to see.
Yeah, and also with the mag advert as opposed to the digipack CD inlay, a lot of it is covered in green with obviously the grass and the natural environment, sort of grass roots, that sort of thing. But in the mag ad, it's on the border, it's dominated by harsh, the black colour, which sort of makes the grass, so it doesn't really dominate, but the link is still there, but it's sort of easier on the eye.
Another difference that I picked up on in the digipack and the mag ad as compared to the video, the sight lines in the digipack and the mag ad, they're very much directed at the audience almost every single time, the exception being in the small split screen which we have inside the inlays of the digipack, where it's images from the video. But all the other imagery which was deliberately taken, each member of the band is always looking at the camera, whereas in the video you've got sections where they're looking around, looking at each other, looking at other people, and it just gives a more like direct feel from the digipack, as if now that you've bought it or you've seen the advert for it, they're like asking you very directly to buy it.
And also looking at the digipack, we see the 4 different images put together. The lead singer is there in 3 of the 4 occasions, excluding the car. It just shows that she's quite independent, and obviously it highlights even further, joining in with the video of her the shots on her own, walking down the street, in the bar, and in the performance, that she is a female. Obviously, that's quite different for any band, not just in the indie genre. So that's something that we should pick up on and probably drive this album and market it even further.
When looking at the marketability of our product, there's a couple of things you have to keep in mind from a consumer's point of view. One is that what you're selling has to stand out in some way, which I think we've managed to do. First off, with the mag ad, it's not exactly blaring in your face, but it's very simplistic and easy to understand, but it still has the attractive qualities that you need to draw somebody in to look at it. It's got slightly funky text, which is what initially grabs you, as well as the images, and the images are very much looking at you, so like appealing to you as a consumer to buy the product. Also, with the various quotes underneath, it sort of like tells you how good the product is, what it's like, what it will be like for you as a consumer to listen to.
And also the text underneath in the mag ad, the language used, such as epic, is the language expected of our demographic, of our target audience. Again, that's another link to them, because that's a sort of a review that they want to hear, something that's quite current rather than quite strict and structured.
At the end of the day, it's going to be the digipack itself with what contains the product that is going to sell and what's going to get you your revenue. So that's where you have to really put the effort in. When we're looking at this, you have the various sight lines. You also have the slight oddities of the imagery itself. I mean, 4 people sitting on a hat. It's different. It's going to grab your attention. You're going to look at it.
In reference to sightlines, in all 3 texts, they're again, like we've said before, communicating with the audience. And in the digipack especially and the mag advert, they're in the mag advert they're inviting the audience in, sort of come buy our stuff because they're looking up at the camera, saying sort of in a way pleading to the audience. And then once you bought the digipack, the double page spread in the middle, they're looking down at the audience, saying sort of like, we're pleased you bought our product, and sort of like they've got authority over the audience.
But also to build on that point, the authority shown in the digipack is not strong and harsh and annoyed. It's more of a we're like artists, we're going to be professional, but then also the playful and individual image is still contained, if you look at it within the digipack and in the video itself. Independent, strong. The one thing I gained from all 3 texts together, in the magazine and in the digipack and in the video, that the split screens show the band together as a unit, togetherness, like solidarity, but it also shows them separate, so that they have their own independence, and then the audience can get to know that member of the band better, and then obviously connect with them, and then that will further revenue through their relationship with the artist.
The connection that we between the digipack and the video, and the way we've managed to keep the connection in there is by using on the back of the inlay the split screen, like the division idea with different images from the video, and this links them with the rest of the digipack, because they're obviously just the rest of the images contain the same people, but they're in different contexts. We've also used the soundboard idea in the digipack just to connect with the recording studio idea within the music video. We haven't included this on our magazine advert because, like we said before, we wanted to keep the magazine advert simple and attractive, with the focus on the band members and not on
Any other objects.
Yeah, any other objects. But the digipack is slightly different because it's using images both from the video to encourage the audiences to watch the video, and also extra photography.
Just to build on Grace's point once again, the idea of the recording studio scene in our video and the soundboard in the digipack sort of builds the idea that it's music in the making, and it shows to the audience the sort of production of the music, shows the processes that they go through, maybe gaining them more respect within the market from the actual audience themselves and other artists within the genre and music industry.
To summarise, we feel that we've managed to create an effective combination of products. This is mainly through use of constant themes and also colour throughout the digipack. We're using like the natural green backgrounds, which is also included a lot in the video text, and also crops up, although not so dramatically, in the mag ad. Using the different imagery of individuals of the bands, like being on their own almost, with the split screens, and also the different scenarios where we've only had one person shown, where this has mainly been our lead singer. Also, as a group, there's quite a few group images, particularly used in the digipack, sitting on the hat. There's two of these, and also the big double spread shot of all 4 of them, with using the sky as a background, which again enforces the sort of like natural element of the band. But also the clever use of the imagery throughout to portray like something that is otherwise ordinary, but in an extraordinary kind of way.